have had enough of your nonsense.
You can't talk to me like that. Talk to you.
You be God, you this man. You suppose they live for second heaven, make I understand. If you move an inch from that position, I will use something and break your useless head. At least before you fire me, I will show you Shege and Banza. Who do you think you are? Nonsense. Only you wicked, only you arrogant. Which one you want live for Satan? Be talking to me anyhow as if I am a nobody. Stupid Oga.
Mr. Jude Coaker froze. For the first time in many years, the man who had made grown men tremble with a single look was not standing. He was on his knees. His expensive trousers were pressed against the cold marble floor. His eyes were wide with fear, and both hands were raised in surrender. She stood directly in front of him, breathing heavily, her eyes burning with anger. For years, Jude Coaker had believed that money could buy silence. His money bought servants. His money bought respect. His money bought fear. But that money, none of it could save him. Not his millions, not his influence, not his expensive mansion, not even his mother. Because the woman standing before him had finally reached her limit. And the most shocking part, Alice was only a maid. But how did a simple housemaid become the one Mr. Jude Coaker was terrified of? Back to the day Alice first entered the Coaker's mansion. Before Jude ever knelt before her, he had made her kneel countless times in his heart. Mr. Jude Coaker had always been a rude boss. Not just rude, he was the kind of man that would destroy someone's confidence before breakfast. His workers were not employees in his eyes. They were tools, things he had paid for, things he believed should obey him without question. If a staff member made a small mistake, Jude would insult them. If someone arrived 5 minutes late, he would shout. If a worker dared to explain themselves, he would call them disrespectful. And if anyone complained, he would simply point towards the door. Leave! Leave my house! That was his favorite word. He used it so often that the workers eventually stopped defending themselves. The walls of the Coaker's mansion had heard countless insults. You are useless. Are you blind? Who hired you? Do you think I pay you to stand around? Get out of my sight! Jude's pride was high as the Iroko tree. And unfortunately, his mother was not any different. Mrs. Kate Coaker was a wealthy woman who believed that money gave her permission to look down on other people. She could insult a servant for the smallest reason. She could complain about food that had taken hours to prepare. She could accuse a cleaner for stealing because one spoon was missing. And she had one particular belief she never hid. Poor people were poor because they were not smart enough to become rich. That was why, whenever any house help left the mansion, Mrs. Kate would simply shrug. Another useless girl. But the truth was different. The girls were not useless. They were simply tired. Very tired. The first house help was a young woman named Sandra. Sandra lasted exactly 17 days. On her second week, she accidentally broke one of Mrs. Kate's plates while washing dishes. The plate cost less than what Jude spent on lunch. But that did not matter. Mrs. Kate stood over Sandra like a judge. You broke it? I'm very sorry, ma. Sorry? Sandra's eyes filled with tears. I didn't do it intentionally. Mrs. Kate scoffed. Of course! People like you always say that. Jude walked into the kitchen. What happened? Mrs. Kate pointed at the broken plate. Look at what your house help has done. Jude looked at Sandra. Who told you to touch that? Sandra opened her mouth. I was washing. Shut up! You people are unbelievable. I'm very sorry, sir. Sorry won't replace it. Jude grabbed his phone. You are leaving. Sandra's eyes widened. Sir? Pack your things. But sir, I have not even completed my month. Did you hear what I just said? Sandra stood up trembling. Pack your things. She did. And when she left, Jude refused to pay her for the remaining days she had worked. She damaged my property, he said whenever she asked for her salary. Sandra left the mansion crying. The second house help was called Blessing. She was more experienced. She had worked for several wealthy families before, so she believed she knew how to deal with difficult employers. But she was wrong. Blessing lasted for 3 weeks. Her mistake? She defended herself. One evening, Jude accused her of leaving the living room dirty. But sir, I cleaned this place twice today. Jude stared at her. Are you arguing with me? No sir, I'm just explaining. I don't need your explanation. But sir, get out of my house. Blessing stared at him. Sir, please, I need my salary. Jude smiled coldly. You should have thought about that before arguing with me. She eventually left without receiving the money she had worked for. The third girl was even more unfortunate. Her name was Mercy. She lasted only 9 days. One morning, Mrs. Kate discovered that the breakfast table had not been arranged exactly the way she wanted. The fork was on the wrong side, and that was all. But somehow, that small mistake became the beginning of another disaster. Mrs. Kate called Jude. By the time he came downstairs, Mercy was already crying. "You hired another incompetent person," Mrs. Kate said. Jude looked at Mercy. "Why are you crying?" Mercy wiped her face. "I'm sorry, sir." I asked why you were crying. You just what?" Mercy couldn't answer. Jude pointed towards the staircase. "Pack your things." 3 house helps. 3 different stories. 3 people who entered the mansion hoping to earn a living. And 3 people who left, feeling as though they had done something wrong simply by existing. That was the kind of house the Coakers had built. A beautiful mansion with an ugly atmosphere. Then came Alice. Alice was 24 years old. She was not a loud type. She did not dress extravagantly. She didn't wear expensive perfumes. She didn't have the confidence of someone who had grown up surrounded by wealth. But there was something about her. Something quiet. Something difficult to notice at first. She had endurance. The kind of endurance that comes from surviving things nobody knew about. Alice came from a poor family. Her mother had been sick for several years, and the sickness had swallowed almost every little thing the family had. Money, peace, hope.
Sorry, Mama. The money wey dem dey pay me no dey enough at all. Later today, I go find another job because this money wey dey my hand no go do.
You wan kill yourself? Add another job on top the 4 jobs you dey do. Abeg, na only you I get o.
I know, but we gats survive.
Jehovah God bless you, my pikin.
Alice had become the person holding everything together. Every month, she sent money home for her mother's treatment. Sometimes after paying bills, she would have almost nothing left. Before getting the Coaker's job, Alice worked 3 or 4 different jobs. She would clean office in the morning, sell food in the afternoon, wash clothes for another family in the evening. And sometimes, at night, she would help at a small restaurant. She was always tired, but she couldn't stop because every time she wanted to complain about how exhausted she was, she remembered her mother. She remembered the hospital bills. She remembered the younger members of her family depending on her. So she kept moving. Until one afternoon, someone told her about a house help position at the Coaker's mansion. The salary was almost unbelievable. It was more than she was earning from all the 4 jobs combined. There was also allowance, food, transportation money, and other financial benefits. Alice couldn't believe it. When she got home that evening, she sat beside her mother. "Mommy," her mother looked at her weakly. "What is it?" "I think God has answered one of our prayers." "What happened?" "I found a job." "A good job?" "Very good, Mommy." "How much is the pay?" Alice mentioned the salary. Her mother's eyes widened. "Alice?" "Yes, Mommy."
That salary too big. Hope these people no wan use you do ritual.
Then she reached out and held Alice's hand. "Don't let money change you, Alice." Alice smiled. "I won't." The first day Alice arrived at the mansion, she stood outside the enormous gate with a small bag in her hand. She looked up. Tall walls, huge windows, beautiful flowers, a driveway wide enough for several cars, a fountain in the middle of the compound.
Baba G.O.D, abeg give me this job. I don't too suffer. Cleaning house na my calling. Please, God.
As I enter inside this house, in Jesus' name, let the owner instantly love me and give me this job with a good pay in Jesus' name.
This place is bigger than our entire street," she whispered. The gate opened. She stepped inside. A few minutes later, she found herself standing before Mrs. Kate. Mrs. Kate looked her up and down, not once, twice. Alice smiled politely. "Good afternoon, ma." Mrs. Kate did not return the greeting. "Come closer." Alice stepped forward. Mrs. Kate inspected her face, then her clothes, then her shoes. "Have you worked as a house help before?" "Yes, ma." "For how long?" "Almost 3 years, ma."
Madam may remain small, then for bomb me with broom. Cleaning na my destiny. I sabi work 3 much. You talk too much for your age. Sorry, ma.
Then came the warning. "In all that you do, avoid my son." Alice blinked. "Ma, You heard me. Yes, ma. I don't want to hear that you have anything to do with my son. Alice lowered her eyes. Yes, ma. Mrs. Kate moved closer. I know girls like you. Alice remained silent. You cheap girls. Alice swallowed. You come into rich people's house and within a few months, you start looking at the son differently. I haven't finished. Alice closed her mouth. Mrs. Kate continued. Don't forget that your job is to clean this house, cook, run errands, do whatever you are told. Yes, ma. Not to look for a husband. Yes, ma. Especially not my son. Alice nodded. I understand, ma. Mrs. Kate stared at her. Good. She turned away, but after taking a few steps, she stopped. And Alice? Yes, ma. My son doesn't like servants getting too comfortable. Alice nodded. I understand. Good. Then she walked away. Alice stood there for a moment. Her chest felt heavy. She had barely entered the house, yet she had already been warned about something she had never even thought about. But she said nothing. She needed a job. Her mother needed the treatment. Her family needed money. And so Alice decided to endure. The first morning, Alice woke up before everyone else, 4:30 a.m. The mansion was silent. She quietly got out of bed. She swept the compound, mopped the floors, cleaned the living room, wiped the windows, washed the dishes, prepared breakfast, arranged the dining table. By the time the sun rose, Alice had already worked for hours. Mrs. Kate came downstairs. She looked around. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she noticed something. Alice. Yes, ma. The flower vase. Alice turned. Yes, ma. Why is it there? Alice looked at the vase. It was exactly where she had placed it. Oh, I thought it looked better there, ma. Mrs. Kate frowned. Did I ask you to think? Alice immediately lowered her head. No, ma. Then put it where it was. Yes, ma. Alice moved the vase. Mrs. Kate walked away. Alice sighed quietly. She wasn't angry. Not yet. She was simply learning. Learning that in this house, even a vase had the power to become a problem. Breakfast was served. Mrs. Kate sat down. Alice remained standing. Have you eaten? No, ma. Good. Mrs. Kate pushed a small plate toward her. Take that. Alice looked at the plate. It contained a small portion of food, far less than what was on Mrs. Kate's table. Thank you, ma. Don't take more. Alice nodded. Yes, ma. She ate slowly, very slowly, because she knew there were cameras everywhere. The living room, kitchen, hallways, dinner area, compound. Alice had noticed them on her first day. She knew that if she took extra food, someone would eventually see it, and she couldn't afford to lose the job, so she ate what Mrs. Kate gave her. Then she returned to work. But there was something Mrs. Kate didn't know, and Jude didn't know too. Alice wasn't starving herself. She simply knew how to survive. She would quietly leave the compound whenever she was permitted to run an errand, and sometimes, using the little money she had, she would buy a proper meal outside. She would sit somewhere quietly, eat until she was satisfied, then return to the mansion and continue working. She wasn't stealing. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't demanding special treatment. She was simply surviving. Days passed, then weeks, and something strange happened. Alice did not complain. Jude insulted her. She remained silent. Mrs. Kate shouted at her. She apologized. They gave her impossible chores. She did them. They sent her on errands in the rain. She went. They woke her up early. She woke up. They sent her to bed late. She still got up early the next morning. Jude began to notice her, not because she was trying to get his attention, but because she wasn't. One evening, Jude entered the house after a terrible day at work. He was angry. His face was hard. He threw his car keys onto the table. Alice! She came running. Yes, sir. Where is my food? I kept it home for you, sir. Then why isn't it here? I was about to serve you. About to? Yes, sir. Do I pay you to be about to? No, sir. Then move! Yes, sir. She quickly served the food. Jude sat down. He took one bite, then stopped. What is this? Alice froze. Sir? Did you cook this? Yes, sir. He tasted it again. This is good. Alice blinked. Thank you, sir. Jude looked at her. Then his face hardened again. Go. Yes, sir. Alice left. Jude watched her disappear around the corner. Something about the girl irritated him. She didn't flatter him. She didn't laugh unnecessarily. She didn't try to impress him. She simply did her work. And that was unusual. 3 months into Alice's employment, she had already sent money home twice. Her mother's treatment was improving. Alice had enough money to think about the future. The following morning, Alice entered the kitchen as usual. She began preparing breakfast. She had no idea that somewhere upstairs, Jude was standing before the CCTV monitor. Watching her, Mrs. Kate walked into the room. What are you looking at? Jude did not answer immediately. He kept staring at the screen. At Alice, Mrs. Kate followed his gaze. Then her face changed. Jude. He looked at her. What? Don't tell me you're beginning to notice that girl. Jude frowned. She's just a house help. Then keep it that way. Jude gave a short laugh. You're just imagining things. She stared at him. I know girls like her. Jude turned back towards the screen. Alice was completely unaware of this conversation. She was humming softly as she walked. Mrs. Kate watched her. Then she whispered, that girl will bring trouble into this house. Jude smiled. She's a nobody, mommy. Mrs. Kate nodded. Exactly. Jude would make the mistake of believing that Alice was poor. She had no power. He was about to learn the most painful lesson of his life. Alice had learned something very quickly since coming to that house. The Coakers did not care how hard she worked. They only cared that she continued working. So the next morning, at exactly 4 a.m., she got out of bed. She washed her face and stepped into the silent corridor. The mansion was still sleeping. She picked up the broom and began sweeping, mopping, washing, cleaning, cooking. By 7 a.m., breakfast was ready. By 8 a.m., the entire downstairs was already spotless. And by 9 a.m., Alice had already been sent out on her first errand. That was how her life had become. Work, endure, send money home, sleep, then start again. Even the most patient person could eventually reach a breaking point. It happened just before noon. Jude came downstairs from his room. He was already angry. Alice was in the kitchen arranging some plates when she heard his voice. Alice! She quickly came out. Yes, sir. Where is my shirt? Alice looked confused. Which shirt, sir? My white shirt. I ironed it this morning, sir. It's in your wardrobe. Then why isn't it on my bed? You asked me yesterday to put your clothes in your wardrobe after ironing them, sir. Jude's expression changed. So you're now reminding me of what I said? No, sir. Then what are you doing? I'm only explaining, sir. I did not ask for an explanation. I'm sorry, sir. Jude walked towards the staircase, then suddenly turned. And my breakfast? It's ready, sir. Bring it. Yes, sir. Alice hurried back into the kitchen. She carried the food to the dining table. Jude sat down. He looked at the plate, then looked at Alice. Is this what you're giving me? Yes, sir. What is this nonsense? Alice stared at the food. She had prepared exactly what he had requested. Sir? Take it away. Alice picked up the plate. Prepare something else. Yes, sir. She returned to the kitchen. She didn't even complain. She didn't argue. She simply started again. That was Alice. She had learned to swallow insult because her mother's medication did not care about feelings. She had endured. But sometimes, endurance has a limit.
What is this, Alice? I told you to clean this table. This is completely unacceptable.
I am sorry, sir.
See that it never happens again.
Na me this mumu they do anyhow so. Them not born and well to talk to me like this for my yard. I for don't break 1 or 2 bottles for a useless head. I no go cry.
Later that afternoon, Mrs. Kate called Alice. Alice! Yes, ma. Go upstairs and clean my room again. But ma, I cleaned it this morning. Mrs. Kate's face hardened. Did I ask whether you cleaned it this morning? No, ma. Then go and clean it again. Yes, ma. Alice turned. And Alice, she stopped. Yes, ma. Don't touch anything on my dressing table. Yes, ma. And don't open my wardrobe. Yes, ma. Don't touch my jewelry. Yes, ma. And don't. Alice stood silently. Mrs. Kate looked at her. What? Nothing, ma. Then go. Alice walked away. She climbed the stairs, entered the room, and began cleaning. She was already exhausted. Her body was aching. She had barely eaten. The small portion she had received that morning had done little to satisfy her, but she kept working. because she needed the money. She needed this job. She needed her mother alive. That thought alone was enough to make her continue. Around 6 p.m., Alice finally went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Her hands were shaking from exhaustion. She had been on her feet almost the entire day. She opened the refrigerator, then heard Jude's voice behind her. "Why haven't you prepared my tea?" Alice turned. "Sir, I was about to." "Why are you always about to do something?" "I'm sorry, sir. Sorry." His voice became louder. "You people are the same." Alice said nothing. "You can't even do a simple job properly." She remained silent. Jude continued. "I don't even know why I bother paying you." That statement hit differently. Alice slowly looked up. "I work every day, sir." "What did you just say?" "I work every day, sir." "So?" "I have never refused to do anything you asked me to do." Jude stepped closer. "Are you defending yourself?" "No, sir." "Then keep quiet." Alice lowered her eyes. "Yes, sir. But Jude wasn't finished. You should be grateful that someone like me gave you a job." Alice's eyes suddenly became wet. She remembered her mother. She remembered the 4 jobs she had been doing before this one. She remembered how hard she had to work to survive. And something inside her cracked. Not completely, just a little.
I no blame you. If we check am now, if it be say we be age mates, or you take 1 or 2 years senior me.
"Alice!" She looked at him. For the first time since she had entered that mansion, she did not lower her eyes. Jude noticed. "What?" Alice's voice was quiet, but firm. "You don't have to insult me every time you want me to do something." Jude stared at her. "What did you just say?" "I said you don't have to insult me." The silence that followed was terrifying. Jude had never heard a house help speak to him like that. He took a step closer.
You dare slap me? How dare you lay your filthy hands on me? I go enter you, oh. Lower yourself now and hands up. I have had enough of your nonsense.
You can't talk to me like that. Talk to you.
You be God, you this man. You suppose they live for second heaven, make I understand. If you move an inch from that position, I will use something and break your useless head. At least before you fire me, I will show you shege and banza. Who do you think you are? Nonsense.
Only you wicked, only you arrogant. Which one you want live for Satan? Be talking to me anyhow as if I am a nobody. Stupid Oga.
Jude's mouth remained silently open. Alice herself seemed shocked by what had just come out from her mouth. Then reality returned. She realized what she had done. She had shouted at Jude Coaker, the man who could fire someone without blinking, the man who refused to pay workers who left before their contract ended, the man everyone feared. Alice's anger immediately turned to fear. She entered into her small room and shut the door. Her hands were trembling. What have I done? She had crossed the line. And the worst part, she couldn't even afford to lose her job. Her mother's medicine depended on that salary. Alice started crying. "God, please." She wiped her tears. "I didn't mean to." But there was no way to take back what she had said. That night, Jude did something unusual. He didn't shout. He didn't call Alice. He didn't fire her. He simply sat alone in his room. The mansion was quiet. For the first time in years, Jude was thinking, really thinking. He remembered the way Alice had looked at him, not with hatred, not with disrespect. She had looked tired, broken, like someone who had been pushed too far. Then he remembered something from his childhood, something his mother once told him. Never trust servants. His mother had repeated those words throughout his childhood. Never trust them. Never become too close to them. They only want what belongs to you. Jude had believed it for years, but Alice had worked in this house for months. She had never stolen anything from him. She had never stolen anything from them. Never asked them for money. Never flirted with him. Never tried to take advantage of him. She simply worked. And today, she had finally defended herself. Jude rubbed his forehead. Maybe I went too far. Those words sounded strange even to him. He had spent his entire life believing that being harsh was the only way to control people. But what if he had simply become cruel? What if the people he called useless were not actually useless? What if they were just simply human beings who had feelings? Jude sat there for a long time. He questioned the kind of man he had become. The next morning, Alice woke up before dawn. She barely slept. She had already decided what she would do. She would apologize, not because she believed she was completely wrong, but because she needed a job. After preparing breakfast, Alice stood outside Jude's room. Her heart was pounding. She knocked. "Come in." Alice opened the door. Then Alice walked forward and suddenly dropped to her knees. Jude's eyes widened. Alice, what are you doing? She bowed her head. Oga, please forgive me. I didn't mean to shout on you.
My Oga, I beg, I dey very sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please don't fire me. I beg you.
Stand up. Alice shook her head. No, sir. I said you should stand up. Please, sir, let me just kneel. I like kneeling, please. Alice, please, I'm begging you, sir. She remained on the floor. Jude sighed. He had expected anger. He had expected stubbornness. But instead, she had come back to apologize.
I won't fire you. Stand up.
Thank you very much, sir. Boss, I promise you, I will never disrespect you again. I swear to God, I will never in my life disrespect you again. God bless you, sir. It's fine. You can go. Thank you very much, sir. She turned towards the door. Alice, she stopped. Yes, sir. For the first time, he said her name deliberately. Go and rest for a while. Alice was surprised. Yes, sir. She left. Jude watched the door close. Then he smiled faintly. Something had changed. He didn't know what it was yet. From that day, Jude became different. Not overnight, but gradually. He stopped shouting at Alice. He began saying, please. Sometimes he even thanked her. And most surprisingly, he began calling her by her name. Alice, please bring my coffee. Alice, have you eaten? Alice, you can rest now. She almost turned around to see whether he was talking to someone else, because Jude had never called her Alice before. To him, she had always been Maid, just like the other workers. Her name sounded different coming from his mouth, respectful, almost gentle, and Alice didn't understand why. She simply assumed that perhaps Jude had finally decided to become a better person. A few weeks later, Alice was cleaning the living room when Jude returned from work. He had a small shopping bag in his hand. Alice, yes sir, come here. She walked toward him. He held out the bag. This is for you. Alice looked confused. For me? Yes. She opened it slightly. Beautiful clothes. Expensive. Sir, please don't be angry, but I can't take this. Jude frowned. Why? It's too expensive. I buy things like this for house help. Alice stared at him. Really? Yes. She hesitated. You did this for the previous house helps? Jude nodded. Yes, that was a lie. He had never bought clothes for any of them. But Alice didn't know. She reluctantly accepted the bag. Thank you, sir. Jude smiled. You're welcome. Alice walked away. Jude watched her. His smile grew. He didn't understand when it happened. He did not even realize he was smiling like that. But somewhere between her quietness, her patience, her strength, and the day she had finally challenged him, his heart had changed. Unfortunately, someone else was beginning to notice. Mrs. Kate stood halfway up the staircase, watching her son. She had seen that look before. The soft voice, the unnecessary kindness, the way Jude had just called the maid by her name. It frightened her, not because Alice had done anything wrong, but because Mrs. Kate knew her son, and she knew that Jude did not behave like that toward people he considered servants. For years, he had called every house help by one name, Maid. Not because he didn't know their names. He simply didn't care enough to use them. Maid, come here. Maid, clean the room. Maid, go. Maid, take this upstairs. Maid, go and buy this. That was Jude. Maid, clean the roof of my house. But now, Alice, no. She shook her head. This cannot happen. She turned and walked upstairs. But unlike before, she didn't confront Jude immediately. She decided to watch, and that was far more dangerous. The next morning, Alice was in the kitchen preparing breakfast when Jude walked in. For some reason, seeing Alice happy made him happy. He smiled. Then Alice turned. She almost jumped. Sir, I didn't know you were standing there. I can see that. Alice smiled awkwardly. Breakfast is almost ready, sir. Good. He walked toward the counter, then noticed her hand. There was a small cut on one of her fingers. What happened? Alice looked at her finger. Oh, this? Yes. I cut myself while slicing vegetables. Did you treat it? Yes, sir. Let me see. Alice hesitated. It's fine, sir. I said, let me see it. She reluctantly stretched out her hands. Jude gently examined the wound. You should be more careful. Yes, sir. Did you eat? Alice looked surprised. Yes, sir. Are you sure? Yes. Jude nodded. Good. He turned to leave, then stopped. Alice, Yes, after breakfast. Don't work too much today. Alice stared at him. But I said don't. She smiled. Yes, sir. Jude walked away. She couldn't understand what had happened to him. This was the same man who once shouted because of a cup she placed 2 inches away from where he wanted it. Now he was worried about a small cut on her finger. She smiled to herself. He is really changing. Meanwhile, Mrs. Kate was watching from a distance. She had heard everything. She waited until Jude left. Alice turned back. Yes, ma. What was my son doing here? He came to check on breakfast. Mrs. Kate stared at her. Only that? Alice nodded. Yes, ma. Mrs. Kate walked closer. Did he give you anything? Alice hesitated. Yes, ma. What did he give you? Some clothes. Clothes? Yes, ma. Where are they? In my room. Take me there. Alice became nervous. Yes, ma. They walked to Alice's small room. Alice opened the door. Mrs. Kate saw the clothes folded neatly inside the bag. She picked one up. Expensive. Very expensive. Did my son buy this? Yes, ma.
Yes.
Why? Alice looked confused. He said he buys clothes for all his house helps. Mrs. Kate gave a bitter laugh. Does he? Alice remained silent. Mrs. Kate dropped the clothes back into the bag. Don't get carried away. Yes, ma'am. My son is only being generous. Yes, ma'am. Don't misunderstand his kindness. I won't, ma. Mrs. Kate looked into Alice's eyes. And don't ever think because he speaks nicely to you that you are special. Alice quickly nodded. Yes, ma. Mrs. Kate left. Alice watched her go, then looked at the clothes. She had no idea why Mrs. Kate seemed so angry. That evening, Jude came home earlier than usual. Alice! Yes, sir. Have you finished? Yes. Good. He sat down, then looked at her. Come and sit. Alice looked around. Sir? I said sit. You don't have to be afraid of me. Alice laughed bitterly. I'm not afraid, sir. You are. A little. Jude laughed. Fair enough. For a few minutes, they talked. Nothing serious, just ordinary things. Her hometown, her mother's health, the food she liked, the place she had worked before. Jude listened. He really listened. Alice did not notice the way he looked at her whenever she smiled. She didn't notice how interested he was in every detail about her life. She simply thought he was being friendly. After all, she had never imagined that a wealthy man like Jude could possibly have feelings for someone like her. A maid, a poor young woman, someone whose entire life revolved around surviving the next bill. So when Jude looked at her with affection, Alice saw only kindness. Days became weeks. Jude's behavior became more obvious. One afternoon,
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate.
Alice was carrying a heavy basket from the storeroom. Jude saw her. Give me that. Sir? The basket. Sir, don't worry, I can carry it. I know. He carried it away. Alice smiled. Thank you very much, sir. Jude looked back. You're welcome, Alice. Again, her name. Alice smiled. Mrs. Kate saw everything. Her heart sank. She knew. She didn't need anyone to tell her. Her son was falling in love. That night, what is going on between you and Alice? Jude became still. Nothing. Mrs. Kate laughed. Nothing? Yes. Then why are you buying her expensive clothes? I told you I do that sometimes. You never did that for the others. Jude looked away. Do you have feelings for her? Silence. The silence was enough. Mrs. Kate's eyes filled with disappointment. Jude. Mom, please tell me I'm wrong. Jude sighed. I don't know. You don't know? Mom, Alice is different. Mrs. Kate shook her head. Every girl looks different until she destroys your life. She's not like that, Mom. You barely know her. I know her enough. You know her enough? Yes. She is a maid. No, Mom. I know. She's poor. I know. She's working in this house because she needs money. Then what exactly do you see in her? Jude looked at his mother. A good woman. Mrs. Kate's expression changed. For a moment, she didn't speak. She just whispered, not again. Good night, Jude. Mrs. Kate began watching Alice more closely. She noticed everything. The way Alice greeted Jude. The way Jude greeted Alice. The way Alice looked away whenever Jude looked at her. the way Jude smiled whenever Alice entered the room. It became impossible to deny. Her son loved the maid, and Alice didn't even know. But Mrs. Kate's mind was already somewhere else. She remembered a woman from years ago, a woman named Chizoba, a maid who had once entered her home looking innocent, a woman her husband had trusted, a woman Mrs. Kate had treated like family. She had helped Chizoba's family, gave her money, bought clothes for her, paid medical bills. She had trusted her completely until one day everything changed. Chizoba had drugged Jude's father, then slept with him. She became pregnant, and at almost the same time, Mrs. Kate was pregnant for her second child. The betrayer had destroyed her family. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst came later. Mrs. Kate's husband died. Chizoba remained because she was carrying the Coaker's blood. And one terrible day, during an argument, Chizoba pushed Mrs. Kate down the stairs. Mrs. Kate was heavily pregnant. She lost her baby, and the injuries damaged her womb permanently. She could not have another child. Jude became her only child, her only hope, her only family. And after everything that happened, Chizoba eventually died during childbirth. Mrs. Kate had never recovered. She had built walls around her heart, and she had taught Jude to do the same. So when she saw Alice getting close to Jude, she didn't see Alice. She saw Chizoba. She saw betrayal. She saw the stairs. She saw the child she lost. She saw everything she had suffered. And that was why her hatred towards Alice was becoming stronger. Alice had done nothing. But in Mrs. Kate's mind, Alice had already become guilty. One afternoon, Jude came home carrying another shopping bag. Alice was in the sitting room. He looked around. Is Mom home? No, sir. Good. He smiled and handed Alice the bag. This is for you. Alice opened it. Inside were several beautiful dresses. She immediately shook her head. Sir, please. What? I can't keep taking these things. Why? You have already bought me enough, sir. Jude smiled. It's nothing. Sir, please, it's not nothing. Just take it. Alice pushed the bag towards him. No, sir, please, I'm begging you. Let me just be. Just stop buying things for me. I don't want it anymore. Jude stared at her. Why are you refusing? I don't want people to misunderstand. Who? Your mother. Jude smiled. She doesn't have to know. Alice became uncomfortable. That makes it worse. You worry too much. I just don't want problems, sir. Jude looked at her for a long moment, then gently said, You won't have problems because of me. Alice looked into his eyes. Something about the way he said it made her heart beat silently faster. She quickly looked away. Thank you, sir. Take them. Alice finally accepted the bag. Jude smiled. Good girl. He walked away. Alice looked down at the clothes, then whispered to herself, What is happening to this man? Don't really give me gift at least. I hope nothing. But there was another question she should have been asking. What was happening to her own heart? Because although Alice had not fallen in love with Jude, something was beginning. Something small. Something she refused to name. A few days later, she called Alice into the sitting room. Alice! Yes, ma. I want you to go to the market for me. Okay, ma. She handed Alice some money.
Alice, take this money. Go to the market and buy foodstuff. Okay, ma. I have sent her. Make sure you do a clean job. No mistakes. I warned her never to fall in love with my son, but she refused.
Alice walked down the street towards the market. She had no idea she was being watched. No idea that 3 men were following her from a distance. She walked faster. The market was still some distance away. Then she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. Nothing. She continued. A few moments later, 3 men suddenly stepped into her path. Alice stopped. Excuse me. One of them grabbed her arm. Leave me alone. She struggled. What do you want from me? The second man grabbed her bag. Give us your money. Please. She held tightly to the bag. That money is not my own. Please, I beg you. Just let me go. The third man pushed her. Alice fell. She screamed. Help! But the street was strangely quiet. She tried to get up. One man kicked her. Alice cried out. Please! She fought back. She scratched one man's face. He became furious. The 3 men overpowered her. They beat her hard. Mona, leave me alone, oh! Mona, go kill me, oh!
Give me the
But
bag
they
right
didn't.
now. Hurry up.
Finally, One of them snatched the bag from her.
Hurt me.
They ran. Alice remained on the ground, bruised, bleeding, shaking. She slowly pushed herself up. Her clothes were dirty. Her face had swollen. She touched her lips. Her fingers came away stained with blood. And then she remembered the money. Mrs. Kate's money. She had lost it. She already knew what would happen when she returned home. Alice wiped her tears, then began walking back towards the Coaker's mansion. Every step hurt, but the pain in her body was nothing compared to the fear in her heart. When Alice finally reached the mansion, she knocked on the door. The door opened. Mrs. Kate looked at her. Her eyes moved from Alice's swollen face to her torn clothes, then back to her face. What happened to you? Alice burst into tears. Some men ambushed me and beat me like this. They stole the money that you gave me to go to the market to buy things though. Mrs. Kate's face remained cold. You mean you lost my money? Alice stared at her in disbelief. No, I didn't lose your money. I was robbed, ma. Mrs. Kate's voice became harsh. It would have been better if you fought them and recovered the money than come back home to this house to spill nonsense. I don't joke with my money, Maid. Alice stood there speechless. She couldn't even believe what she was hearing. She was bleeding. She had been beaten. And this woman was worried about money. Alice's lips trembled. Ma, but Mrs. Kate raised her hand. Enough. Alice cried harder.
I would be nice to you. Go in there, pack your things and leave this house. I won't call the police on you, so you don't go out there and spoil the Coaker's family's name.
And that is me being nice, you know? Alice's heart shattered. Ma, please. I'm begging you. Okay, you can be taking the money from my salary every month. Please don't send me away. I said you should leave my house. Ma, I didn't steal. I didn't steal your money. If I repeat myself again, Maid. Please, ma, I'm begging you in the name of God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit, ma, please, I need this job. Mrs. Kate turned away. I don't want to hear another word. Don't let me go in and come back and you are still here. I swear to God, you will not like my reaction. Alice stood there crying, then slowly walked toward her room. She packed her clothes, her few belongings, the little things she had accumulated over the months. Then she saw the clothes Jude had bought for her. She carefully folded them. Just as she was about walking out, Mrs. Kate stopped her. Where are the clothes my son bought for you? It's in here, ma. Drop them, you thief, and be fast about it. Alice's eyes filled with tears. She opened the bag. One by one, she removed the clothes Jude had given her. She placed them down. Mrs. Kate watched. Alice picked up the rest of her belongings, then walked toward the door. She didn't look back. Outside the gate, she began walking. Her bags felt heavier than they had ever felt before. Tears streamed down her face. She had lost the job she had sacrificed so much to keep. And somewhere behind her, the clothes Jude bought for her were about to be burned. Mrs. Kate ordered the gateman to take them away.
Take these clothes and burn them.
Okay.